Christ, I thirst for thee, for there is nothing else that satisfies, and my soul it longs for love, like the deer panting for the water. Oh, now I call to you as I walk in these courts of glory. Rise afresh as me, with the strength that I may stand and help quench this weary land. How we need the river, how we need the rain, living water flowing us again. We pray, shower us in glory, shower us in grace. Let the Holy Presence fill this place. Let the Holy Presence fill this
And he said to me, Son of man, have you seen this? And he brought me, and he returned me to the river. And he said to me, this water flows towards the eastern region, and it goes down into the valley and enters the sea. And when it reaches the sea, the waters are healed. And it shall be that every living thing that moves wherever the river goes shall live.
Is only one, and our hearts cry, holy, holy. Oh, come, sweet Spirit, come. Let all love and grace restore and breathe into us now, and all mercies deep and new. Let the whole world love as you. How we need the river, how we need the rain, John, Pete, Steve, Mike, Amity, keep them out. Woo! Keep them
I had this vision of us going nice and quietly into prayer. Oh, peace be still. And let us take a moment in prayer. Deep calls unto deep. Charles Fillmore told us that spiritual things must be understood spiritually. And so I invite you now to go into that place within that is always still. Go to that place within that remembers. Go to that place within that needs no words. Because there is a river that flows through you and flows through me. And it is the Holy Spirit, the whole Spirit of God. It lives in us. It flows underneath us, around us, and through us. It guides us and directs us. And when we are still, we remember how we need the river. The river, when she flows to the seas, her waters are healed, and every living thing that moves wherever the river flows shall live. And so is true of us. Amen and amen. Hi, everybody! Woo! Hi, Jackie! Good evening, and welcome to Unity on the River, and welcome to our 25th anniversary celebration. Woo! Woo! Actually, it's a whole week of celebration. It started on Sunday, and it continues. And who would have thought that 25 years ago, when I opened my upper room with fear and trepidation, that 25 years later, all this would be happening. Wow. We are so, so blessed. Good to see all of you. Good to see all of you who I've known from our past. Good to see all of you who are new, many new faces. Great to have you all here. I just need to take a moment to acknowledge this music team. I know that Meg said their names, but I couldn't hear them. So there's a few that we have invited here, especially for this 25th anniversary. I know that Amity Castanel, we see him periodically, but wow. Is it a joy to have you here with us? Ken Clark, our second music director. Mr. Curtis Haynes, our first music director. Woo! Who has brought along with him Paula Esty and Lisa Plumley for Temple Thieves. Yeah. So tonight we are going to take a journey along the Powwow River, the river that is right behind us, the river that Denise and I, Denise DeSimone, when we first came to see this property, didn't even see, but the river has called to us. And tonight I feel is an important night as we are honoring the people and all the things that have gone on in Unity on the River in the last 25 years. We need to honor, we've been here for 20 years of living with this river, the Powwow River, the place of healing or the place of gathering. So that is our call for the evening. And Ogun Holder, would you come up here? Where are you? There you are. All right. And give us some announcements. Okay. Thank you next.
I'm only giving announcements. None of that's necessary. But thank you. Thank you. I'll take it. The only thing I want to remind you about is that the celebration continues on Friday night. We will be gifted with a concert by Jana Stanfield. She's the composer of songs of If I Were Brave and I'm Not Lost, I'm Just Exploring, some of our New Thought favorites. She'll be here doing a concert, some workshops on Saturday, one of them in which she guarantees after an hour and a half, you'll be able to play guitar. So if you've ever, I'm coming just to see it happen. Like, I already know how to play guitar. I just want to see that bit of magic happen. So if you've ever said, you know, one day I want to learn how to do this, but come Saturday. And Sunday, she will also be our guest musician and guest speaker. It was just a, you know, there's no coincidences, I believe. And we actually had her booked for next weekend way before we realized, oh wait, it's the 25th anniversary. So it was just a perfect synchronicity, and she's happy to be here. If you don't have your tickets for the concert yet, they're on sale in the bookstore, as well as ways to sign up, sheets there and online. Also, I am just curious, it seems you're enjoying yourself so far. Would you agree? Yes. I am just, out of curiosity, just morbid curiosity, would you be open to, and again, just throwing it out there, search within your hearts and your feelings, you know, as they say in Star Wars, search your feelings. Would you be possibly open to something like this happening once a month in the evening? A full room with all these fabulous, amazing musicians. I've not talked to anyone about this yet. This is a spontaneous thought happening. I can feel the staff cringing as I say this out loud, but I want you to just entertain that idea as this evening continues. An evening, at least just once a month, where we come together, raise our hearts and souls in song, in this way. Just more singing and song and uplifting. And if you might be open to that idea, consider it. And when you are considering it, consider it especially when offering time comes. The reason I'm saying this, hang on, the reason I'm saying this is because these folks over here are professional musicians, and we would do them a great dishonor if we said to them, just come play for free. We want to pay them. We want to give them something. Honestly, we don't even pay them what they're worth. This is the truth. We would love to pay them what they're worth, and even more so, we would love to have them here more often. I would love to see them here, just lifting us up. So think about that. If that's an idea that might feed your soul, I'm just throwing it out there. See what sticks. Okay. I'm going to turn it back over to you guys. That's all I got.
There's just one more thing that I forgot to say. Later on in the evening tonight, we are going to give you the opportunity. We're going to hand over the microphone. We would love to hear from you your favorite memories at one point. At another point, what you love and appreciate about Unity on the River today. So be thinking about that, all right? So I'm going to share a reading with you called We Share the Same River by Mark Nepo. From his Book of Awakening, Rosemary Finn shared this passage with me, and it said exactly what I wanted to say tonight. I was traveling in South Africa, and I felt very tender one morning when my friend Kim came upon me as I was weeping. She asked if I was okay. I told her it was only the waters of life splashing up my shore. The waters of life splashing up my shore. Later that day, I found her near tears and checked in with her, and she said, "The river's now in me. The river's now in me." We looked into each other and realized that we all share the same river. It flows beneath us and through us, From one dry heart to the next, we share the same river. It makes the earth one living thing. The whole of life has power to soften and open us against our will, to irrigate our spirits. And in those moments, we discover that tears, the water from within, are a common blood, mysterious and clear. We may speak different languages and live very different lives, but when that deep water swells to the surface, it pulls us to each other. We share the same river, and where it enters, we lose our stubbornness, the way a fist wears open when held under the stream of love. We share the same river. Where it enters, we lose our stubbornness, the way a fist wears open when held under the stream of love. I told you on Sunday that in 1992, I was sitting above Lake Paupack, looking down over Lake Paupack in the Pocono Mountains, when the Spirit came upon me and told me that I was to bring unity to my community and that I was to become a unity minister. So that rather put me aback a little, but I decided that I would go out to Unity Village and find out what all that was about. Why was I being called? Because I knew it was a divine idea in the mind of God, and it was not my idea. So I was out at Unity Village for about 3 days when I started to cry. And I cried, and I cried, and I cried, and I cried. And I remember, it was 3 days that I cried. And on the third day, I was in the back of a classroom. Deidre Price, who was then called Debbie Tyson, was leading a meditation. It was the quiet time of the meditation, and I was on the floor weeping. And she came and sat beside me and said, so the waters of life have splashed up upon your shores. Basically, in essence, that's what she said. The waters of life have this ability to open us against our will. And when it wells up in us, we have tears either of joy or of happiness, but those tears are mysterious and clear, and they remind us that we all share the same river that runs through us and over us and around us. We all share the same river. When we realize that we are all one, when our tears come, we recognize that we are all one. So I wanted to ask, how many people have received a divine idea when beholding a body of water? By the ocean, by a river, by a lake, by a stream, or in the shower? How many? Okay, be truthful. How many in the shower? Right. Right. Water. Water represents vitality, pure potentiality, unexpressed possibilities. Water is used for cleansing, as in a Christian baptism. Water is used for purification, as in the mikvah in the Jewish tradition. In the ancient at the ancient temple, people would take a mikvah, purification bath, before they entered into the temple. Water. Water is our guide. It is our teacher. It has so much to share with us. So is it any wonder that we found ourselves on the banks of the Powell River in 1998? As I said earlier, Denise and I didn't even realize that there was a river there. But we must have felt the pull. We must have known that she was calling us. I have 2 rescue ponies. And when I first saw one of my rescue ponies, it was a photograph. And that photograph just jumped out at me and said, "Come get me. Come rescue me. I want to come home with you." And I feel like the river was saying that to us, that the river needed us. The river called us. Is Bill Grover here? Yeah. I'm hoping that Bill will tell us a little bit of his story of the realization that the river called us. The river called us to be here. Long before I became a minister, I lived in Amesbury. I did while I was a minister also, but when I first moved to Amesbury, I realized that there was a little stream river that circled around our property. It's called the Back River. And the Back River flows into the Powwow River. And the Powwow River flows into the Merrimack River. And I now have the privilege of living on the Merrimack River. We all share the same river. We all share the same river. And you know, only some rivers have the experience of really being tidal, which when there's a tidal river, you can tell it on the Merrimack. When the Merrimack goes out to sea, it is healed. You know, it carries with it all this debris and junk that humans have dropped into it from Andover and Lawrence and all the way along the river. I know we've done a lot of work on the Merrimack to clean it up. But all that debris goes down to the ocean, where it is cleansed in a sense. If we're looking at all the plastic that's around the world, we wouldn't think that it's really being cleansed, but there is a cleansing that occurs, and then the tide changes, and the salt water comes back up the river, comes back up the Merrimack, comes into the Powwow, and the Powwow leads right back into the Back River. When the waters go to the sea, they are healed. And every living thing that moves wherever the river flows shall live, shall live. We all share the same river. The river purifies us. So, pages here. In 2007, we had a geomancy study done here. How many people were here when Jeff Barone was here? Yeah, a lot of people. That's great. So a geomancy study is an energy study, a study of the key that moves through a property. And he came because we wondered, we would have 200 people, and then we'd go back down, and then we have 200 people, and then we go back and down, and we were wondering what the key was that was around this property. And so I really want to read to you some of his passages, because his words are so beautiful that I think that you should hear them if you haven't heard them before. The natural landform of the immediate area, directly behind us, creates an exquisitely tranquil and picturesque site, predominantly offering a holding and nurturing quality of feminine energy, greatly enlivened and enhanced by the sweep of the flow of the river around the site. In an undeveloped state, that is before the buildings were created or were erected, the natural inclination of the human mind in this location would be towards self-reflection, optimism, peace, inner strength, and a vibrant capacity to nurture. This is reflected in the lower and the upper wooded areas over to that area, out back into the far left. These areas are very soft, very feminine in energetic essence. The tree specimens of white birch and white pine reflect the purity and clarity of this space, the characteristics of white being the indicator. Characteristics of the white pine are that of the peace tree. Given its soft and gentle needles, its bellowing movement in the wind, and its soft wood. Excuse me. Its emotion connected to the concepts of peace is indicated as it weeps tears when physically struck, indicated by the large amounts of sap that occurs when the bark is damaged. When life softens us against our will, tears flow, don't they? Tears are our common blood, Mark Nepo said, mysterious and clear. This tree is also known as the hearth tree, as it is the primary wood supply for home building, as well as being one of the primary wood tinders for starting Aboriginal cooking fires. The white birch overlooks and is representative of the goddess tree, viewing the forest with a protective eye, the omnipresent eye of awareness. The black marks, have you seen on the white birch, the black marks that look like an eye? The black marks on the bark are the eye-shaped of all-seeing, all-knowing aspect of this divine landscape sentinel. However, as one comes out from this lower wooded area onto the space that holds the buildings, there is a tremendously aggressive energy hovering above the space. This comes from the road systems of Route 95 and Route 110. The soft feminine from below is cowering to protect herself from the discordance from above. The net effect of highway development and associated disturbance has been to shift the nurturing and holding qualities of the site towards self-protection, insulation, and invisibility, with little possibility for outreach and expansive breath beyond an effective but now constraining container. Jeff noted that the doorway to these buildings is right in the center between two arms, like it would be our heart chakra, with these two arms of the building stretching out on either side, and all that aggressive energy comes down. And at one point we were having cracks in all the walls, the roof was leaking, the doors wouldn't open and shut, and so on. So this was not an ideal situation for a center of celebration and transformation of the whole New England area, which is what we were thinking of at that time. Why do you suppose I had a challenging time getting people, not just to work outside, but to even go outside? For the longest time. The last passage, though, this is what you really need to hear. Unity on the River has created a very bright and dynamic bubble or sphere of energy over and above the church and its outlying buildings, formed with a fusion of human intention and human key. The quality and effectiveness of the sphere of consciousness held in this way is remarkable and highly to be admired and congratulated. Let me go over here. This river called us. It called us because it knew it had many gifts to give us, but it needed us to be aware of it, to be present to it. And short of tearing down the buildings, you all have done the next best thing. The next best thing, words coming out. And that is to honor that river, to go back there. You know, right before I left, I started seeing Anita and her boys coming and cleaning up the space back there. And then more and more people came. And Will Lojak brought some, what's that stuff? Yeah, mulch, yep, that stuff. Lisa Gallant organizes people to go out and start working out there to clean it up, to plant. We had Nancy Reese and Susan Coburn. I understand there's someone named Imelda who is now the team leader. Is she here? Imelda, where are you? Hi, bless you. Thank you. I know Denise Dennis, Mary Howard, others came and started doing. Did you all walk out there? And we had the monks. We had the monks, the Tibetan monks, come and bless it. This is exactly what we needed. You know, Jeff Barone had many different ideas about what we could do to enhance the spirit of place, he calls it. Spirit of place. And everything that you have done out there is honoring the river. You know, when I was out there on Sunday morning, I overheard somebody saying, "It makes the river look so much more beautiful when this garden is here." You know, we had put in the peace pole, and somebody added to the children's area, an outdoor children's area. But all of that energy is there because we share the same river. And that river is there to teach us and to guide us and to give to us. But you know, we cannot have anything that we don't first have in consciousness, can we? We cannot be an awakening humanity to its divinity unless we have awoken ourselves. How are we going to clean up this climate change thing if we don't clean up what's going on inside of us? You know? Right. I always like to say we cannot have a have-to-be world. We don't live in a have-to-be world. If I had lots of money, I would tithe all the time, and then I would be really prosperous and really happy. We have to be in a be-do-have world. We have to be the change we want to see in the world. We have to be the consciousness that we want to experience. Then we will be guided, we will be shown what is ours to do. And then we will have everything that we want. We live in an energetic universe. That river is energetic. And the more that we give to her, the more she's going to give back to us. She will give to us in energy. We will attract all the right and perfect people, all the finances we need. That is how energy works in this universe. It's all good, it's all God, holy, holy, right? Okay. When a river meets a boulder, at first it tries to skirt around it, right? Goes to either side. I'm not going to face that boulder. But eventually there's so much water, it has to rise up. It has to rise up in consciousness. We need to rise up in that same consciousness, take care of this river. This is only one element, but we have celebrated all these people that come to Unity on the River. We have celebrated on Sunday who we are and who we will be, and we've given great thanks. Let's just not forget that we didn't name this Unity at the River. We didn't name it Unity by the River. We named it Unity on the River because there is only one river, and that river is us. So today I invite you to continue doing what you're doing about going down to that river and having celebrations there, having meditations there, have your classes there, honor that river. You know, I went on a canoe ride in the powwow once, and a blue heron followed us the whole entire pathway. We've seen bald eagles back there. There's so much life there. The spirit of place at Unity on the River is very rich. He who has eyes to see, let him see. He who has ears to hear, let him see. It's all here for us. It will give to us in abundant, glorious ways. We all need the river. Let us be the river. Let us allow the river to be us. And so it is. Thank you. So we're going to move into meditation. I'm going to bring Curtis up to the piano. Could I ask for help for a second? Could you bring this table up there? Could you bring that table right up there? Slack time is my favorite time on the river. Since I live on the Merrimack, I can see it twice a day if I am there at the right time. It's when the tide has come in, and then everything settles, and everything is quiet. So this is river water from the powwow, and the river rushes in, and this represents our busy lives. We're going about doing things. And the river rushes in, and then ultimately, it is still. Still as a lake, you know, when they're crystal clear. So beautiful. That's our meditation time. So I invite you into meditation time now.
Let it draw near. Let it come in. Let it pass through. Let it go on. Let it draw near. let it come in. Let it pass through. Let it go on. Let it draw near. Let it come in. Let it pass through. Let it go on. Let it draw near. Let it come in. Let it pass through. Let it go on.
In Ezekiel, we read that the water goes to the sea, and when it reaches the sea, the waters are healed. And it shall be that every living thing that moves wherever the river goes shall live. We all share the same river. It flows beneath us, around us, and through us. It moves from one dry heart to the next, and it makes the earth one living thing. So I invite you to contemplate the rivers in your life and the gifts they have brought you, and how the river moving through you has touched you and healed you and cajoled you and taught you. Let us take these thoughts now into the silence. And so we begin to come back to this present time. After our time in the silence, in the slack time, the river begins to move back out to the sea again. We go back to our busy lives. But we have been touched. We have been changed. We all share the same river. Let it draw near.
Let it draw near. Let it come in. Let it pass through. Let it go on. Let it draw near. Let it come in.
draw near.
Oh, that sweet spirit draw near.
Let it come in.
Let it come in.
Let it pass through.
Let it pass through.
Let it go.
On and on and on.
Let it draw near.
Sweet spirit.
Let it come.
Let spirit come in.
Let it pass Let it go. Let it draw near. Let it come in. Let it pass. Let it go on. Let it draw near. Let it come.
Sweet spirit.
Let it go on. Beautiful.
I would like to invite Mr. Ogun Holder to come up here, and it's not for the reason that you think.
All right.
Baptism. You didn't know.
Thoughts now.
Oh, dear. Well, I'll try to be gentle here. But I do want to say that I didn't tell him about this, and I'm taking a chance. And I want to ask for apologies if I offend in any way ahead of time.
Apology accepted.
All right. So I do not know why your parents named you Ogun, but I did some research on your name, and I found out that there is an ethnic tribe in Western Africa called the Yoruba tribe, and they have a deity named Ogun. Ogun. I wasn't going to say that, so. That's right. It's Ogun. Good. I'm so glad you know. So.
That doesn't mean you start calling it
I know. It just wasn't going to carry it that far. So Ogun was a primary deity, and he was the first deity to come to earth. It allowed other deities to come to earth so that human beings could be created. Now listen to that metaphysically. He was one of the first preparer of the way so that human beings could be created in the image and after the likeness of God. So I am seeing you as a preparer of the way for this congregation and beyond, for humans to realize their full potential. Also, I don't know if you'll be here another 25 years. Chances are, who knows? However, for the time being, you are the holder of the spirit of place for Unity on the River. So if you would allow me, I would like to anoint you as preparer of the way for humans to be created in their fullness, and as the holder of the spirit of place for Unity on the River and the Powwow River. God bless you, Ogun Holder. You may sit down. Wait a minute, my one. You may sit down, but this next song could be a song for you. It could be for every one of us, but please welcome.
Here I am, Lord, use me, guide me, fill me, take me, lead me by your will. Here I am, Lord, ready to follow, to serve you, to love you, to be you in this world. Thy will, it is done through me this day. Thy will, it is done through me this day. Lord, you call, I answer. Open, I listen. I hear you, I feel you move in me. Lord, I come closer, humble, I surrender, lifted, committed to your plan. Thy will, it is done through me this day. Thy will, it is done through me this day. Thy will, it is done through me this day. Thy will, it is done through me this day. Here I am, Lord, I come. Here I am, with me this time. Lord, I come.
Magnificent, Ken. Thank you. Thank you. That's such an important song, and you did it magnificently. I think it might be time for sharing. Am I right? Am I right? Yes? Sharing. Okay, Ogun, come on up here.
As Shipley described earlier, we are going to take some time to give you the opportunity to share, again, either your favorite memory, what Unity on the River has meant for you over the years, what it means to you now. I'm going to assume there might be more than a few of you sharing. I also want you, as you share, to be very mindful of allowing time for others to share. This is not going to be a gong show situation, but we have a gong. And I will be gently reminding you as you share about the time of your sharing so that others may have the opportunity. But I'm going to let you handle it. I trust you guys. Tina, our board president, will take a mic and we'll monitor both aisles. We'll bring the mic to you. We do ask you to use the mic and place it as close to your mouth as possible, simply so that everyone can hear, and those watching online and those who are going to watch later can hear you as well. So just raise your hands as you would like to share, and we will try to get to you as quickly as possible. We're also going to break up the sharing time with a song at some point. So we're going to be doing it in 2 segments.
Oh, me first? Oh, boy. Hi, everybody. Mark Rosen here. You know, I have a memory. For me, it was about the music and the sound and the AV and the music, and it always really was the power. And I remember we did a Easter thing that was the most amazing thing I've ever been involved in, and the power of that came to me directly after leading the choir and working with Curtis and all that other good stuff. And I went home and I was so full of power. I grabbed a glass for a drink of water, and without realizing, I squeezed it so hard and it broke in my hand. Now, if that isn't a Unity story, I don't know what is.
Yes, Mark Rosen was the first music director at Unity on the River.
So I'm Irene, and I just quickly want to share that my husband and I had a band for about 10 years, and I was drinking heavily during that time. And I got sober, and I couldn't sing anymore. I just couldn't do it. And the first time I sang again, Shipley asked me to sing in the fellowship hall when we were in the other room, and you gave me back my voice.
So I'd just like to say these were perfect examples of timely sharing. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Irene. Let's model what the example they've set for us. Over to that side.
I can't say enough quickly, except that
the peak experience I can remember at Unity on the River was going to Peru with Shipley and Susan Coburn and Julie, and lots of other, Stephanie, who's here, and I set this intention. I loved music, but I was never a musical person, and I set this intention to learn the recorder and play Amazing Grace on Machu Picchu, and I did that, and haven't played since.
Hi, everybody. I'm Peter Craig, and there are a lot of things that I remember that are wonderful about this place. The music program has always been great, but what stands out for me is some of the Adventures in Faith groups, where I got to sit with people and really hear what's going on in their lives and feel like I really know them. And I met so many wonderful people that way. The other thing that stands out for me is Shipley Allenson leading the Holy Spirit regeneration class, because that taught me about surrender.
Hi, I'm Jim. One of my favorite memories was about 20 years ago. It was the first official Unity on the River drumming circle. And it was in Shipley's backyard. There were like 30 to 40 people there. Everyone was beating on the drums, having a great time until the cops raided it.
My name is Dave. When my hand went up, Irene's went up. I think I beat her, but anyway. Yeah, the music is something that so close to my heart. And I didn't know that Shipley knew that I had played the guitar or something. This was within the first year of our being, probably 1998, 99. And she said, Dave, would you mind picking a song and doing a song on Sunday? Sure. Wow, sure. We didn't have all the numbers of musicians. And we had just been, Irene and I had just been to a gospel breakfast in Cambridge. We'd heard about it. We heard it was wonderful. They had breakfast and sang gospel, a lot of African Americans, and the spirit was really high. And we learned this song, Thank You, Lord, there. And that just rang in my head. And so when Shipley asked me, I said, oh, I learned gratitude as a spiritual practice here. And so we got up and we did that song, and in the middle of it, Irene went out with the mic and had everybody just start to hum it, and people shared different things that they were grateful for. And that's one of those moments where it's not you. You're not singing the song. It's leading you. God is there leading you. And we ended, and then you were going to do the offertory, and you said, can we just keep that song going? Remember that? And we must have done that for another 10 minutes. And just thank you, Lord. If there's one thing I take away from Unity, it's thank you, Lord. Thank you.
Some of my favorite memories were serving as the youth ed director with our joyous children. Especially the celebrations when we came in and did the pageants. It was so much fun seeing the children come in. And the other celebration I'll never forget was a time when Jim McQuaid was presented with this Superman of the Year costume. That was precious. Thank you, Ship. I'm speaking better. You taught me well.
My name's David. I've been here a while, and I've got a pretty deep well of things I could go into. I thought my brain was going to explode after the first service. I mean, I swear to God this is true. Some lady came out with a puppet and did a ventriloquist act in my first Who knew, right? But at the end of this service, there was a quiet meditation where they said, you're the face of God. And I thought, okay, I'll stick around. And I came to a lot of Wednesday nights, and this is sort of a typical crowd for Wednesday night in those days. Yeah. But the highlight had to be, it was about maybe 8 years ago, you know. I stand in the front there, and we used to turn around. And I saw this cute blonde in the back row. And I kept thinking of a way to try to talk to her. And finally, you know, we saw each other someplace else. It's a long and hilarious story. But I finally got the, nerve to go talk to her. And so we talked, and we started to hang out, and we started to date. And Unity gave us a language, to talk about the shit we had to work out. Know what I mean? And last year, in July, Shipley took time out of her busy schedule of like watching the tide come in and playing with the horses. She took time out to come up to Exeter and marry me and Michelle. So thank you very much.
Hey, everybody. From the back corner. I just wanted to say that I would not be here if it weren't for Curtis Haynes. So, very briefly, you may well remember when Curtis was living on this coast, he was doing the music scene over at Glenn's Restaurant as well, and Curtis and I were playing with a fellow bluesman, and he said on the set break, "Hey, I got this church gig, and would you, what would you think about subbing for the regular drummer?" Church? Do I have to wear anything? Anyway, it turns out the regular drummer was Matthew Taylor. And Matthew and I grew up together. He was from Wakefield, I was from Linfield, and we were the same, we graduated in the same class. So anyway, and so I started subbing for Matt 10 years ago, and if it weren't for Curtis Haynes, I would not have met Ken Clark. And so 5 albums later, it's been the hallmark of my professional career. So, thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Gail Lyman, and my relationship with the community was maybe a little bit different. I was your tenant for many, many years. So my first story is about my first experience, and I saw a little ad in the paper. I'm still pretty sure I'm the only one that saw it. Pretty sure. So I came down to look at the space, and I loved it. It was near my sister, the river. Couldn't get much better. Felt good. I was looking for a place to move my healing center. So Peter Stringham, is he here tonight? Yeah. He's busy, isn't he? So Peter showed me around, and we got talking, and I looked at him. I said, "So what do you do?" He said, "I teach the law of attraction." And I started getting goosebumps, and I said, "That's why I'm here. That's how I got here." And he looked at me and he said, "I know." And my favorite memory, I think, gosh, there's a lot of them, but I remember after a Wednesday evening service taking drums and shakers and all sorts of noisemakers out and around and clearing and shaking up that beautiful energy. So thank you all for a beautiful time.
Hi, everybody. My name is Denise DeSimone, and I have way too many memories to even begin, but one of my most favorite was the day that Shipley and I found this place. What she didn't tell you is that right before we came here, we went to a Chinese restaurant that had closed, and we looked at each other and said, "Yeah, too much smelling like chicken wings." It'll distract everybody. They'll be too interested in going to eat. And when we walked in here in the door, we just looked at each other, and I think my favorite memory was the hush that fell over us, that we were home. And it's been my home and a lot of our home for a long time. And you asked us to talk about what our idea of a good place now is, and our, not memory of now, but I just want to say that I'm really happy that there's a willingness here to grow from Ogun, from everybody. And I have one request: if it touches any part of your soul, just consider coming home. Please.
My name is Sherry, and there was a Saturday night. We were at the beach, and a divine idea apparently came to me. We were doing a sacred circle dance, and I came here the next day for service, and I felt like, oh my God, I must bring this to the whole group. So I went up to Shipley and I said, there's this circle dance. We don't have to do it in a circle, but can I do it? And she totally said yes. And then the entire congregation stood up and did it, this dance and song. And it was just amazing. And it's just the willingness and openness and embracingness of this group. Thank you.
Shipley, can you hear me? Shipley, I want to thank you for showing the movie The Indigo Children. I don't know when that was, but I had 4 children in 5 years and 4 months. And they came in with medical problems, developmental delays, and what else? There was medical, there was developmental, and so the educational. And the public schools didn't meet their needs, and the medical didn't meet their needs. And thanks to that movie, I was able to see them with eyes of love. Unconditional, not the way I was raised, with conditioned love. And I was able to parent them a lot different than I was parented. So I'm very grateful to you, and to Meg, and to Denise, and to Stephanie, and to Irene, and all my soul sisters here. I found my tribe, and I'm so grateful. And now I have healed so much, I can let in my soul brothers. It was very difficult for me. And having Shipley as a woman, I mean, growing up Catholic, it's like, can she be up there? Is this real? But when I saw your bookstore, and I saw Wayne Dyer and Caroline Mason, Louise Hay, and Deepak Chopra, I mean, that's all I was reading. And then Ogun came along to carry on, and I just think the gender equality and the race equality, it's time to balance the male-female energy on this planet. And if we do not self-evolve, we're going to self-destruct. So, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
My name is Stephanie, and I've been coming here since 1997, so I have a lot of memories. Some special ones are the women's retreats that Meg and I ran several times. So I spent my first 18 years as a Catholic, my second 18 years as a born-again Christian. Then I got sober, and then I never thought I would darken the doors of a church again until I came here. But one of my earliest memories, and this isn't kind of a normal church memory, but I won't embarrass who it was who was platforming, but something happened, and she went, shit. And then she went, oh, fuck, I said shit. And I thought to myself, I can worship here.
Okay. Yeah, back here. Hi, I'm Mickey. True story. So many memories I have here, so many grateful moments. Of course, I have to say I met my wife here. Oh. So anyway, but I have to tell you quickly, I maybe like 10, 12 years ago, Shipley's like, Mickey, why don't you try PowerPoint? And I was like, PowerPoint, oh my God, responsibility? Oh my God, I can't do, no, I want to just be here. No, I can't do that. No, I have to run the slides. Oh, no. And I started doing PowerPoint. And then all of a sudden, the person creating PowerPoint couldn't do it anymore. So I got to create it. And all of a sudden, I found like all this stuff that I could do. And it ended up being really good. And then from there, I started as a platformer. So this church has really helped me grow. Thank you.
So we're going to take a quick pause in the sharing for a song. And David, this is for you.
Well, should we bring him out? Come on, big guy. Come on. Please. Hey, big guy. Look who's here. Oh my gosh. Sammy, do you have any favorite memories here? Yes, I do. There's all these comedians, and they always make you laugh. And there's music men and women. Hi, Ken. And Shipley's here. And look at all of you beautiful people. Oh my gosh. This is a happy day. Maybe we could sing Oh Happy Day.
No, we're not singing that, Sam. No, we're not. We're singing something else. We're singing about giving yourself to love.
I know how to do that. Do you guys? Awesome.
Kind friends all gather round. There's something I would say. Something brings us together here. Bless us all today.
Love has made a circle that holds us all inside. Strangers are family. Loneliness can't hide.
You must give yourself to love. If love is what you're after, open up your heart to the tears and laughter. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. I've walked these mountains in the rain and learned to love the wind. I've been up before the sunrise to watch the day begin.
I've always knew that I'd find you, though I never did know how. Like sunshine on a cloudy day, you stand before us now.
So give yourself to love. If love is what you're after, open up your heart, tears and laughter, and give yourself to love.
Give yourself to love.
Can I sing this? Love is born in fire. It's planted like a seed. Love gives you everything. Love gives you what you need. And love comes when you're ready. Love comes when you're afraid.
It's gonna be the greatest greatest teacher. It's the best friend you've ever made. Yeah, so give yourself to love. If love is what you're after, open up your hearts to the tears and laughter. Give yourself to love. Just give yourself to love. So give yourself to love. Give yourself to love you guys. You're the awesomest in the world.
Let's continue with some sharing. David, how's your mind doing? Still, you're okay? Checking in. All right, here we go.
So back in 2006, there was a part of the service called 1 Minute Miracles, which is when Shipley would bravely call on a congregant to share an unscripted story of how the divine truth was showing up in their lives. And when I finally got my chance, I got to share the story of how I went home one day to an envelope full of money, which is not a miracle. And if you think it is, I invite you to start tithing a little bit more. The miracle was actually the message of how this came to be. You see, this money was from my grandmother, and it was my brother who told her to give it to me, which was really cool and a little strange because my brother was dead. He had appeared to her in a dream and told her, Seth really needs our help. If we don't give him this money, he's going to take forever, and I can't wait any longer. So this envelope had a very random amount of money, which just happened to be the exact amount of money I needed to buy an engagement ring. And I got to announce this miracle sitting right here to everyone here. And little did I know that a mere few years later that my son too would share his engagement in front of this community when he asked Brian Dozer's daughter to marry him, and she said yes.
Stand up.
We got Brian at the back, Brian Dozer.
Yeah, I'm in charge, so I got the, I get the mic, so I can turn me off. See, then turn me back on. There we go. All right, just quickly, I've definitely told many stories over the years, and they're never meant to be funny, as you know. All right. I've kind of viewed my life as a river, always kind of flowing back and forth between different situations. Being in the music industry, I always thought I'd land in LA. I'd never liked New York, so I knew I wasn't going to go there. Out of college, I landed here in Boston, and I started playing in the folk music scene downtown. And through travels, I ran into this woman in Kerrville, Texas, at a folk festival, the Kerrville Folk Festival, and she lives in Annapolis. So by dating this woman who lived in Annapolis and I was back in Boston, she came to Boston, and through happenstance happened to be asked by her friends James and Catherine to come up and sing at a Masonic great room in Newburyport during one of the services. So I tagged along because we were dating. So we came in, and I was so enamored, having grown up Catholic, like I know many people here, that I watched the whole process come together. I watched Curtis lug his piano in, and Leslie bringing in the sound system, and Shipley setting up that, and Catherine and her husband setting up the bookstore. And then Shipley being the most endearing minister, especially back then, because she hated to make mistakes, but it was one of the cutest things to see, because she would just go, oh, and she'd run, and she'd grab her notes and look at him and go, oh, yeah, and she'd put them back down. And I just sat there and went, I have to come back to this. And And so I did, and you know, the relationship, you know, went away, but I still kept coming, you know, probably once a month, and then twice a month, and then by the time we got here, you know, not long after I got married, and my oldest was baptized. Actually, my oldest too, Noah, was baptized here as well, and then my daughter got engaged. So it's. I have a lot to be thankful for Unity. I've been through 2 ministers and about 7, 12, 14 music directors. I forget how many now. Just kidding. But I've always had the privilege to be able to be part of it, and I really appreciate everyone, and especially Shipley and Ogun and all the people who have been here over the years. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Robin Clark. I used to work here. And I'd like to share 2 things. One, I was happily working as a youth ed leader in the Midwest when my husband came home one day and said, "We're moving to New England." Sigh. And I thought, well, I really love what I'm doing, but, you know, maybe this is the next right chapter. And I thought, well, heck, maybe there's a Unity out there. So I called and somehow got connected with Shipley, and I don't know if you remember it the way I do, but we had a brief chat, and yes, they are looking for a youth ed person, and gosh, it sounds like I have good experience. And in my mind, I said, okay, when we get settled, we'll come and talk. And I told my family maybe we could set up an interview or something like that. And so we moved here and sat way in the back one day, came to look, and the next thing I knew, Shipley was saying, "And we'd like to welcome our new youth ed director." That's my side of it anyway, Ship. I'm not so sure. And I said, well, I guess I got the job. So thank you, because it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. It really was. But the other thing is, I'd like to express my gratitude because I was so privileged to work with the children. And for me, to stand in that doorway as you all finished up what you were doing, and with the children behind me, and as the music started to play, all of you turned and looked at us. And you'll never know how deeply that energy was felt in my heart, in my soul, in my mind, in my bones. I thank you for the light you shared with me.
Hi, my name's Arlene Damon, and kind of biblical, I was wandering in the desert when Shipley approached me and said, "You want to come to my house to a meditation group?" And I was like, okay. And it just was all sparkles from there. Our first church service was in the basement of a bank. And you know what? She looks exactly the same way she did. And you know why? Because she still has that glow that I said, I'll follow you anywhere. And I did. Love you.
Just while I have her, Arlene Damon was our second board president. Catherine Perrin was our first flower person. And Jackie Woodside was board president for this many years. How many years now, actually?
My name is Susan Coburn.
After serving in a mainline Protestant denomination for many, many years, I decided that it was time for me to move on, and I spent quite a bit of time wandering in the wilderness. And had heard of Unity on the River and decided to come. But I always said that I would never, ever, ever join a church again. I'd participate in that kind of thing. Well, Shipley's ordination came up, and I attended. And it was like Spirit hit me over the head with a 2x4. And I decided then that I would join this congregation and become a member of Unity on the River. So now when I go, oy, 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 what am I doing here? I blame Shipley. But I've never regretted it.
I know there are some of you who are newer to our community. I recognize your faces. You've only been here in the last couple months, the last few years. You've got some great memories too. Please feel free to share some of your recent memories. This community is as much yours as it is the people who were in the basement bank. So I just want to invite you to consider that. Go ahead, Jackie.
That's great, Ogun. Similar to what other people have said, it's hard to pick just one or two. There's so many. So Shipley, I hope you're feeling acknowledged tonight, and Ogun, you as well. But one of my best memories is Denise DeSimone and how we helped you survive and recover from your cancer experience. The day that, and we were on the board together at the time, I don't know if you remember, but I just remember thinking, my God, you know, she can't die. I just wouldn't, because she can't die. I love this woman, and you know, what's going to happen? And Shipley's like, no, she's, you know, we're going to hold the high watch, and we prayed for you, and we held vigil, and we were in touch with you, and then they said you wouldn't survive, then they said you wouldn't talk, and then the day that you came here and sang the Angels song, what's the name of it? Calling All Angels, after your recovery. It was life-changing, so thank you, and thank us, all of us who were a part of that recovery, Denise. That was very, very powerful for me. But the other one, I've got to be quick because I only have 30 seconds, is just, you know, Shipley, you, I've said this before, you are an incredible minister. So I was board president at one point, and Shipley knew I had done some speaking, and she called me one day, she's like, Jackie, I'm going to be away for the month of August, can you speak at Unity on the River? And I thought, oh my God, the budget must be a mess. Because they can't pay me if I'm board president. And she's, no, the budget's fine, I just want you to speak. And so the first time I spoke here, my son was 2 years old, that was 12 years ago, and since that time, you know, my life has changed tremendously, and from speaking here at Unity on the River. Thank you so much, Shipley, for that.
My name is Will. Unity has always been recognized for the music, and we'd be remiss to not recognize Patty Barkus and the grace that she brought. That's my memory.
My name's Paula, and my favoriteest memory is before there was an official board and we got to do whatever the hell we wanted. Starting in the upper room, prayer room, and deciding to make a church was like, whoa, we can do whatever we want, and we did, and it was great. It was so, I mean, I'm not a church person, and I couldn't wait to get here. I couldn't wait to do it all. We had art in the sanctuary. One day, my life changed when Curtis Haynes came over to my studio and said, I heard you read a poem, and I thought we could put music to it. And it was like, my heart stopped. It was like, yes, yes, yes. And it's just been a beautiful, beautiful ride ever since. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Reverend Carol. Hey, everybody. It's nice to see you. Many of you, I know. My husband and I came in 2005. We were wandering in the wilderness as well, having just lost a son. I have to say, Holy Spirit led us here. I lived in New Hampshire, didn't know there was a Unity Church in Massachusetts, 20 minutes away. But we came, and it was coming home. It was the most loving, nurturing place we could have been. And I have lots of memories, Shipley, first of all, for you as a spiritual mentor. The fact that you officiated at Mimi Walrzak's funeral, that you officiated at Seth's wedding, and you baptized our grandson. So those are very, very special memories. Also, I was lead chaplain here for about 5 years, and that was just the most wonderful opportunity. I think the interesting part, and I really didn't want to follow Spirit's guide, but I filled in for 2 months. Do you remember for Sheila? And it ended up being 2 years. So what happened was Shipley was retiring, and there was a huge transition period before Ogun came. So I want to say I learned to live these principles by working in the office and working with all of you. Thank you.
I'm one of the newbies here. But Shipley, your footprint is all over this place. I was a recovering Catholic, and during the regime of Pope Francis, I was sitting in Mass, and I decided this is no longer a spiritual experience for me. So started my search, and I landed here in the in-between you and Ogun period, and Jackie Woodside was speaking, and I thought, I'm home. I mean, the moment I walked in here, I was home. And one of the things that I so appreciate is that, you know, the world is a crazy place right now, and I can very easily get pulled down by it, but I know that I can come here and get a really good message from Ogun, and any one of you will help me to get back on track.
Hi, I'm Kat. I used to be Kathy, and Leslie helped me chop my name down by 2 letters. So that's one of my Unity experiences. She said, why don't you give it a shot here? We went to a workshop, and she said, nobody knows you. So we did, and that was, 14 years ago. I may need the gong, but I'll try to be quick. My Unity story actually began before I ever knew there was a place here. I had a friend that started sending me the Daily Word, and this was during my drinking wild party days, so I thought, Janny, don't be shoving your crap on me. Well, I got sober, and the Daily Word became part of my morning meditation, and I lived off of that. And I said, I thought it was a pretty safe bet, because I grew up Catholic too. And I said, well, if you ever gave me a great message and great music, I would go to church. But since none of that was around, I thought I could stay home on Sunday mornings. I moved to Amesbury, and I don't think I was here 6 months, and somebody said, did you know there's a Unity Church a mile from your house? So I came. Oh, I was so resistant. I was like, where's the steeple? And they don't have any pews. Like, the pews were so great, you know. They don't have any hard, uncomfortable pews, and they hardly ever ask for money. What kind of church is this? And then they wanted to hug, and I come from really huggy people, but all of a sudden it was like, I don't want to hug these people. So don't get in an argument with God. So the next thing I know, I'm back again, and you had Neil Douglas Klotz here. Totally killed it for me, because I'm half Lebanese, and a lot of times whatever's going on in the world, I don't like to say that because people have ideas about Arabic people, and he gets up and he says the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic, and it blew me away. He had me at Avun, and and I just threw all in with you guys. The next thing I know, I'm racing from the Cape in an hour to make an announcement about Adventures in Faith. You'd think I was giving out an Oscar, and and it was so crazy. I've done so many things I had no intention of doing. I was a chaplain for a while. I taught a prosperity course. I could use a prosperity course. Shipley came at a moment's notice when I asked her to come and bless my mom before my mom passed. And she also came at a moment's notice when I was alone in the hospital with pneumonia. I've gotten to read my short stories here, and you guys make me feel like I'm talented. And, I just want to say to the people who are new and don't have any intention of staying, that was true for me, and that was in 2000. And I want to, somebody talked about coming home again, and I remember Robert Frost said, home is where, when you want to go there, they have to let you in, and I think it's time to come back. Thanks.
So in the interest of time, we'll take two more from that side. So Brad and one other person, and I know Lisa wanted to share, and somebody back here had their hand up. I am not sure on this side, maybe. So we've all got lots of stories. I do want to encourage you, if you did not get the opportunity to share tonight, and you still want to after we have completed. There are a couple ways you can continue to do that. We've got papers for the memory wall. You can write and share. You can submit it online. We're gonna put them up. Call and leave a message on our voicemail, and we will share it. Make a short video on your cell phone and send it in. We will. I'm being serious about this, and send it in. We're not celebrating 25 years just this week. We're doing it all year. So there will be other opportunities to do this as well. So let's go with Brad, and then Lisa, and then one other person from back here. Sorry, go ahead, Brad.
Thank you. Well, I'm another one of the relative newbies. In April 2015, I left an abusive relationship and moved here, and I happened to find a room with Jane, and she brought me here, and it was just a perfect place to heal, and I want to thank everyone for that. And I was able to heal, and then something really weird happened. It didn't stop. So I joined the choir. I found my voice. I mean, not only did I find a singing voice, but then I started doing Jackie workshops, and oh man, all kinds of stuff starts happening then. And I found my voice. I found the strength to speak my truth and to believe in myself. And now I'm ready to step into a role of leadership, and I'm putting together a program. And it's all happening, and it's a big part of it is you guys. So thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa Palonzi. So I think that Cindy Perdigao took your job, Carol. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. So Cindy and I are best friends, and she says, "Yeah, I just got this job at a church," and she says, "I think I'm supposed to go to church on Sunday." I'm like, "All right, well, I'll go with you." So I came to church. We sat in the back, and they played "You Are the Face of God." Puddle. I lost it. And I was going through something really tough. My son was in recovery, and I remember Tom Paolini sat with me in the front row and prayed with me. And I came back the next week, and I haven't stopped coming since. So I moved up from the back to the front because I was obsessed with Maura Lynch. She was just like, her singing, the way she put herself into the music, and she invited me to join the choir. I started doing Jackie work. I have the closest friends here, Holly. Oh my God, you're part of my world, and I just appreciate everyone in this room. And it doesn't matter if you're close to someone or not. You could go up to someone, anyone in this church, and say hi, and connect with them. I just feel like I'm home. I do want to share this quick story about how I met Ogun. So that first week, you had just started, I think it was your third week here, and you came in with the Superman shirt. And I'm like, what kind of cult thing is this, you know? And Cindy was telling me how they pray in the meetings, and they pray out of meetings, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't really get this. But now that I'm on the board, I get it. And you bring prayer into your life, becomes a living prayer. And I'm just so grateful to be here and grateful to be working with you, Golden.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave, Dave Shirkus, and I think maybe Paula's definition of doing whatever the hell you wanted maybe included simulating being Jesus Christ on the cross on Good Friday. So we did a few of those, whatever we wanted to do. One of my favorite stories was we had Jeannie Houston here for a workshop, and I don't know what the exercise was, but at some point, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds was playing. And the entire people, like in 2 minutes, were all up on these chairs standing, screaming the song at the top of our lungs. And I said, I found my people.
Hi, I'm Maggie Michaud. Shipley, so nice to have you here tonight. I want to honor the energy and the strength of the people in this room. I mean, when they were asking me about a story that I could think about that happened, I'm thinking of October. When I was in the hospital for a month, and this was back, 8 years ago, she came with a walker by herself to my side of the table as a chaplain and sat with me, and I looked and I was like, oh my God, you know, this woman can do anything because she knows she's powerful. And this is what we have learned in this room. You know, we have learned no matter where we are, if we're dealing with cancer that people have, if we're dancing with celebration, it doesn't make a difference. We are all the same. You know, I don't see Ogun up here or Shipley up here because I know I am a strong woman. And when I speak, that's what I teach. But I honor both of you, but I honor everybody that sits here. And there's so many people I haven't seen for so long. It's just such a blessing to have us all together again.
So I do believe we're going to take an offering about now. Is that what's next? But before we do that, I do want to take a moment to acknowledge people who have been vital, integral parts of this community who have passed on, who are no longer here. We heard mention of October, Patty Barker, Cheryl Ressler, who else? John Davey, Lisa Gallant, Karen Thornton, Nancy Lincoln. Say again? John Resto, Cheryl who? Cheryl Short. You mean Lisa? Another one. I was like, wait, what? Sorry, there's a Michelle Gallant back there, and I got a little panicked. Thank you. Michelle Gallant. Anyone else? Any other names? Mary Davy. Call the names out. Just call them out. Yeah. Yes, we did get Lisa Gallant. We got her. We did get Karen Thornton. Goldie. Oh. These are all integral fibers of the tapestry of who we are as well. And we would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge them and realize that they continue to be a presence in this community through us, through our memories, through the good that they did here. So I just want us to just take a silent moment for them to connect with the love that they were, the love they gave to us, and the way they showed up as manifestations of God. And so it is. I'm ushering, I think.
Well, we have the privilege and the honor of sharing an offering, sharing your love through your financial means. If you would take your offering in your hand, and we will bless it. Everybody knows the prayer of blessing for our offerings. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And we thank you ahead of time. Unity on the River, a divine idea in the mind of God, and still going strong because of all of you and all the loving support you have given. Thank you, God. And so it is.
We have Lisa Plumley in the house. Hey, everybody. It's waking up a little bit. What a we need a handheld. Duka. Sammy's mom needs us. It's Neil's mom.
Check 1, 2.
I am so ready. You don't knock. Well, you don't knock. You just walk on in the door. Into heaven's end, there's love and joy for you to share. The whole day through, I know my friends are there to rest. In the heaven says you don't knock, ring, punch your hole. The door's wide open, we're waiting for you, so you don't knock. just trying to bear the load. I travel all night and day, so tired I can hardly pray. Well, now Jesus, my light and guide, He's ever by my side. So I'm knocking in the hell of a You don't know, just walk on in the door. Into heaven's ended love, joy for you to share the whole day through. I know it's heaven's ever-end. Into heaven's end, you don't knock, bring, punch a hole. The door's wide open, waiting for you, so you don't knock. You just walk on in. He is ever near. He'll know my work is true. So glad the day is through. Well, when it wasn't for me to say, I didn't think I'd make my way. So I'm walking out, knocking in heaven and cry. Well, you don't knock, you just walk on in the door. Into heaven's end, there's love, joy for you to share. Oh, thank you, I know my friends are there to guess. Within heaven's end, you don't knock, big, punch a hole. The door's wide open, let go, so you don't knock. You just walk on, you just walk on in. Get away, girl, now, now, now.
And please welcome Temple Thieves.
Yeah, Paula Estee and Lisa Plumley. And papers.
When all is said and done, and it's time to leave this place, in a world so full of longing, will we ever find God's face?
Divine beloved, we are gathered once again in love, and in the shimmering expectation of our good. We feel the blessed pulse of your magnificent world rise over us. The veil is lifted, and all manner of love is expressed.
wonderful choir. Woo!
We are truly blessed. We are truly blessed.
And that
We are truly blessed.
we're Go in peace, all of you. Thank you so much for being here tonight. This was a magnificent celebration. My heart is just overflowing. So we will go where love goes, but come back again and again. We love you. We are Unity on the River.
You're good at that. You're good at the smile face. Get everyone to smile? That's good.